Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Ian Armstrong. Ian, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you again, and if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so where are we at right now? Either Cliff or Kat will be leaving on Thursday, which is very upsetting because I really love the dynamic of Cliff's Angels, and this sucks. Okay, so anyway, they've both been campaigning a lot, but it's not going great for Kat. People are having a hard time believing that she would actually put up Holly and Jackson like she's saying she would if she were to win HOH. It's not really that believable, is it? I mean, they're always hanging out. No. Okay, she really needs to change up her campaign strategy because it's not working. So Cliff has the votes right now. He's got Nicole, Nick, Christy, and Sis, who all say that they're voting to keep him. Tommy is also on board with Cliff staying because Cliff is injured. He's a guy, which means if he stays, it'll be 5 girls versus 4 guys, and if he were to leave, it would be 6 girls versus 3 guys, which makes Tommy really nervous. So he would like to keep Cliff around for that reason. Also, if Kat is sent out, the trio of Kat, Jackson, and Holly will be broken up. They will only be 2. So, Nick is trying to take advantage of Cliff staying this week. He wants to get something out of this, right? What am I getting out of this? So, he is trying to set up a final 6 deal with himself, Nicole, Cliff, Christy, Sis, and Tommy. So it seems like a lot of people are really into this deal. Cliff has been checking in with all of the potential allies, and he's telling them all, I would love to make this deal. I would love for any of us to win in the end. Like, this is great. We're all fans. And they're all really into it. Except for Tommy. Big surprise! Tommy doesn't want to make a new fun alliance. Well, it's not really fun, but a new alliance outside of the 6 shooters. So Sis and Tommy are in the RV bedroom, and Tommy says, yeah, I just don't think that we should make the deal. Sis says, wait, what? She says they have a better chance moving forward with Nicole and Cliff than they do with Jackson and Holly. Whoa, is Sis actually playing? She doesn't have dick brain anymore, so she can think about the competition. So she says Jackson and Holly are always going to have each other's backs, and they're good at competition. So they are more likely to make it to the end with Nicole and Cliff there. And Sis and Tommy are always talking about how they want to go to the final 3 with Nick. And she feels like this is the best way to achieve that. So Tommy says, well, maybe I can tell Cliff that I can't really make a deal right now for Final 6 because I can't play in HOH next week. So I'll tell him that I'll be open to making deals next week. What's the reasoning here? What is the justification? I don't really understand his explanation. I guess what he's trying to say is, I want to wait and see who wins HOH, because if it's Holly or Jackson, I still want to work with them. And if it's you, then yeah, I want safety from you. That's really effed up. I would be really pissed if I were Cliff and he said that to me. But anyway, Cliff is on the block, so I'm sure he'll be very understanding about whatever Tommy says to him. So Sis says, I think Cliff is going to get sketched out if you do that. Yeah, it's pretty sketchy, right? So they're both saying they still want to be good with Holly and Jackson, even if they do make this final 6 deal. They want that cake, and they want to eat it too. So who would they even be up against if they were, okay, so say one of them wins HOH, they're just gonna go after, like, Jess at that point? Isn't she, like, the only person that would be left? Yeah, right? So lame. So they go over a potential scenario. They're like, okay, what if Cliff wins HOH and he takes out Jackson? So Tommy says, Holly is gonna be all alone at that point. You know, I want to work with her. I would rather work with her than be stuck with Cliff and Nicole. Damn, stuck with them? So he says it would feel really shitty to take out Holly when we've been working with her since the beginning. And he's also saying that he is scared of losing Holly and Jackson's jury votes if they turn on them now. Ding, 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 ding. That's what Tommy is actually worried about. He doesn't care if Holly's by herself. He cares about the jury votes, okay? Oh my God. So Sis says, honestly, I would like to just sit back the next 2 weeks, let Cliff and Nicole win HOHs, take out Jackson and Holly, no blood on our hands, we can just relax. And then we can move forward and we don't have to deal with Jackson and Holly anymore. And we'll still have those jury votes. So that's very typical Sis, right? She doesn't want to have to do anything. So Sis is also not super happy with Holly at this point because she's hearing that Holly told Nicole that Sis was in her ear during her HOH week and that Sis was telling Holly to put up Nicole against Sam. So Sis is claiming that she did not tell Holly to put up Nicole. Are you joking right now? How hard was Sis pushing for Nicole to go up on the block? Seriously, oh my God, I can't believe she's freaking lying about this. So Sis and Tommy say they're gonna talk about this more later. Yeah, that's no joke. They're gonna talk about it over and over and over again. Ugh. So they end the conversation with love you, obsessed with you, love you. All right, so then Nick and Tommy were chatting in the boat room and they are still planning on getting rid of Kat. That is not changing, but Tommy says he's really going nuts about this Cliff deal right now. Ugh. He says he feels good with Jackson and Holly, so why fix it if it's not broken, basically. He says that he is scared to make the deal with Cliff for 2 reasons. Number 1, it feels too much like an alliance. He promised that he was not going to make another alliance at the beginning of the week. He said that. But I'm sure he would gladly reform Grateful with Jackson and Holly and Nick, you know, all them. I'm sure of it. But of course that would be okay. So he's saying, I don't want to go back on my word and form something new with Cliff and Nicole. So then number 2, he says, I'm scared to make this deal prematurely. I want to see who wins the next HOH competition. Wow. So he says, I don't know who Holly and Jackson would put up if they won HOH. Probably wouldn't be me, so I don't want to mess with that. He also again says he doesn't want to lose 2 jury votes. You gotta get to the end in order to get those jury votes though, right? So he says, I can make a deal next week after one of them, Jackson or Holly, is gone. He's assuming it'll be Jackson to go before Holly. So I don't see why that would make that much of a difference if he turns his back on Holly at that point. I feel like he's just saying that and then he's gonna prolong it until Holly is also gone. That's just the vibe that I'm getting. I don't know. But Tommy says, maybe I'll just make an individual deal with Cliff. And then he says, we should all just make individual deals with Cliff. This is so stupid. So Tommy still wants the others to gun for this next HOH. I think one of his other concerns that he's not really saying is that he wants to make sure that Christy and Sis are not just gonna throw this next HOH competition if they make the deal, because they'll think, oh, we'll let Cliff and Nicole take care of Jackson and Holly, we'll be fine, it's great. But that makes Tommy nervous because you never know what could happen. He's a little bit scared that he could be in trouble if something goes crazy or whatever. So he wants Sis or Christy to really fight for that HOH and win. So that's another thing that's holding him back. I feel like Tommy is just, he cannot get over this 6 shooters thing. I feel like he's gonna get them all an apartment to share together after the season's over. Okay, so later, Sis and Tommy are chatting in the HOH room. Hey, guess what? Tommy is still scared to make the deal prematurely with Cliff. It's the same shit over and over again. He's saying he wants to be good with Holly and Jackson if either one of them win HOH. And if they did go ahead and make the deal with Cliff and it got out there and they found out, they would be pissed. And maybe they would go after Tommy, Christy, and Sis. So Sis says, okay, listen though. She's worried that if Holly or Jackson won HOH, that they would target Nick, and that is something that Holly has said she would like to do. So Sis says, Nick really has both of our backs. We're supposed to be going to the final 3 with him. So Holly and Jackson need to go. And Tommy's like, yeah, I see what you're saying. So then Holly joins them and they start talking about the vote. And Tommy says, I don't know what's gonna happen with the vote this week. Sure you don't. Okay. Holly says that she's scared that Cliff will come after her if he stays. And Sis is like, well, I don't know what Kat would do if she won HOH, because she says that she's targeting Jackson, but how could that actually be? So they are like dancing around each other in this conversation. Tommy and Sis are trying to subtly campaign for Cliff to stay. Holly is subtly trying to campaign for Kat to stay. None of them want to push too hard during this conversation because it would be weird, but they're both, I guess all 3 are trying to get their opinions out there all the same. So Holly is trying to downplay how close she is with Kat, and it was hilarious because at one point Holly was like, oh, Tommy, you're probably just as close to Kat as I am. I don't think so. So Holly says, oh, I've been feeling so out of the loop lately. She says that her and Jackson have been staying away from the rest of the 5 because they want to make it look like they're not working together, because that's what Tommy said he wanted at the beginning of the week. And Tommy was like, yeah, I don't think you need to do that anymore. In fact, I don't think you should do that anymore because it could put a target on you. So don't do that. Okay. So then Christy joins them, and Holly is still, you know, trying to campaign for Kat to stay. She starts throwing Cliff under the bus, saying he's tried to work with everyone. He was trying to work with me and Jackson multiple times. Yeah, he's trying to work with everybody because nobody will accept him into their group for real. So then Holly's asking, what's up with Nick? Tommy says, I feel pretty good with him. So Tommy also says that Jackson came up to him and was asking like, oh, have Nick and Nicole taken our spots in the group? Have they replaced us in the alliance? And Tommy was like, hell no, F no, like no effing way, oh my god. Alright, so then Holly starts throwing Nick under the bus, saying, I think he's kind of getting back to his old ways, being super shady, sharing lots of information with everyone, which is true. He's been very shady lately. And Holly says Cliff and Nick are tight, and Nicole, which makes 3. Yes, continue to try and throw the attention off of your own trio. So then Holly says that Nick was trying to get her and Jackson to work with Cliff, Nick, and Nicole, so it would be like a new 5. And Holly also spills that Nick was telling her that Christy said if she won HOH, she was going to target Jackson and put up Jackson and Holly, which is definitely something that she said in the past. But Christy's like, no, I can't believe that. It's bull. Oh my god. So yeah, Holly says that Nick has been planting seeds and trying to drive a wedge into the 6 Shooters alliance. He has, but like they've all been doing their shit. Like they're all guilty. So then Holly is also mentioning, hey, remember when we still had 6 people and Kat was totally cool with being our 7th? Isn't she so great? Like she should work with us. No. Okay, so then after this chat concludes, Christy and Sis were talking alone, and they're like, whoa, it's so obvious that Holly wants Kat to stay this week, and they're frustrated and angry about what Holly was saying, all the information that she was giving them. Christy says all that information about like Cliff and Nick, that was pretty much from last week, so it's not really relevant now. And the stuff last week, it was Jack versus Jackson up on the block. So like obviously they had to lose somebody from their group. So it was like a unique situation which they haven't dealt with yet. But they're not planning on dealing with it again right now, having 2 alliance members up there. So they're not concerned really about the whole Cliff and Nick working together thing. So Christy says Holly is just trying to make us fear Cliff and not want to work with him. But Christy says when Cliff gives his word, he freaking means it. And if Cliff wins HOH, she's pretty confident that he's going to put up Holly and Jackson. Okay. I feel like Cliff is going to stick to that, but we'll see. So then Sis has a revelation. The light bulb went on. She said, I think I might be slow to process things. But like, I'm thinking one of the reasons that Holly and Jackson want to keep Kat is because Kat will keep them safe with people on the other side. Yeah, so Christy's like, yeah, 100 million %. That's a lot of percents. She says, yeah, Kat is like a bridge for them to the other side, so she is very valuable to them. So then they're discussing how Jackson was saying that he wants the 5 to get together and meet that night to solidify something again. And Sis and Christy are both saying they don't want to do it. They want no part of this, but they know that Tommy does. So they're like, ugh. But Christy keeps saying, like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to, like, fake being in an alliance with them. Or I don't want to make a real alliance with them and then have to fake it with Cliff. Like, she wants to do the Cliff thing. She wants the final 6 deal with Cliff, Nicole, Nick, and the 3 of them. So, yeah, she doesn't want to deal with Jackson and Holly anymore. She was also saying how she trusts Jess more than Holly. She doesn't trust Holly at all at this point. So she's really upset that Holly is so obviously working with Kat and she's lying about it to them. You know, it would be a different story if she was honest about it, but she's not. So that really makes Christy upset. So then it was Taco Tuesday. They did a gratitude circle. Blah, blah, blah. Moving on. Later, Sis and Christy were talking again in the HOH room, and Christy says, okay, I was just talking to Jess, and she was asking me if the 5 are back together, if that's still a thing. So Christy's like, now it's absolutely not happening because they don't need people thinking that. So she says, I don't want anything to do with that. So then they were wondering, who told Jess that the 5 is still working together? What's that all about? So they're wondering, was it Nick? Maybe he is trying to freak people out. I don't know. But they're also really weirded out that Nick has been spending like all day with Kat, which is true. They're wondering, is he just trying to get her jury vote? Like, what's going on there? Why is he spending so much time with her? It's sketchy and they don't like it. So Christy says she can't fully trust Nick. And yet they still have no plans to get rid of him anytime soon. I don't understand why all of them seem to be so enamored with Nick, by Nick, whatever. I don't get it, because he is so nasty and so sketchy game-wise. I don't understand why they'll like him so much. But anyway, Tommy joins them, and Sis and Christy both tell him, we don't want to have this meeting with Jackson and Holly. Jess was just telling me that she thinks the 5 is still together, so that's not good, blah, blah, blah. They all agree. They still want to be good with Jackson and Holly, but they don't want to set up anything official with them. So basically, you don't want them targeting you if they win HOH, but you still want it to be open so that you can get rid of them. That's basically what that is. So Tommy says, yeah, no new deals this week. I'm not doing it. So he says it's going to happen next week. We've got to make a big move next week. What's a big move in Tommy's mind? I'm really curious. Getting out Jess? I don't know. So Christy says that Jackson and Holly, don't be fooled by them. They are only trying to be buddy-buddy with us now because we're their only option, especially if Kat goes this week. Yup. That's exactly what's going on. Okay, so then the rest of the night, same bullshit, same conversations over and over. Moving on. Today, Cliff Notes are back. Woo! So Cliff says he's all aboard this final 6 plan. Woo woo! And he feels bad about leaving Jess behind because she's part of Cliff's Angels. But he says you gotta do what you gotta do. And this could be really good for his game, so sorry. Ugh. He says he will be fighting for HOHs and vetoes. He's got to build up his resume at this point. Yeah, I mean, his HOH week, not really a great moment on his resume so far, right? Yeah. Okay, so then Tommy and Cliff were chatting in the HOH room, and Tommy says, I don't want to have to, like, do anything shady or go through loopholes this week to make deals. He said at the beginning of the week that he wasn't going to make any new alliances. Oh my god. So he says, I want to make the deal with you. I really do. But I can't do it right now. Ugh. So sketchy. So Cliff says, it's all good. You know, this week, if you guys vote to keep me, I will exchange that for your safety if I were to win HOH. And then we can make something more official later on if you want to. I mean, obviously, Cliff is going to say that because he's on the block and he needs the votes, but that's like super sketchy of Tommy. I would be really freaked out if I were Cliff. So, I'm curious now what's going to happen with the other 4 people that are supposed to be involved in this alliance. I mean, obviously, Nicole is totally on board with Cliff. She's got a final 2 with him. And I'm curious now, will Nick, Sis, and Christy tell Cliff, like, let's be good until final 6, and then Tommy's gonna jump in later, or what's the deal with that? So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But then Kat and Cliff were both passing out campaign cookies today, and I think Kat said she put in, like, 4 cups of brown sugar or something in her cookies. You're gonna kill everybody. So, yeah, Kat is making the campaign rounds, and again, it's not working. People are finding it odd that she says that she's targeting Jackson, and yet Jackson and Holly still want to keep her? Why would they not want to vote her out if she's actually targeting him? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, so the spoilers come full circle. Talked about the same thing at the beginning and the end. So, tomorrow is the eviction. I think we know what's gonna happen, but Jackson and Holly are still in the dark at this point. They still think that Christy and Sis are leaning towards keeping Kat, which they're not. So it'll be interesting to see if Jackson and Holly are ever clued in on what's happening and how they decide to vote. I don't know. I mean, you never know. Something crazy could happen and things could flip and they keep Kat, but at this point, it's not looking good for her. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll see you all tomorrow, and until then, much love.